All right, cool.
All right. Awesome. So I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I've been studying astrology since I was 13 years old.
Wow.
And I really liked it because it was kind of like a business card to people's personalities, kind of like a little bit of an insight into how they're going to be in their daily lives.
Okay.
And I just wanted to get to know somebody without having to, pull all the layers of the onion back.
I feel like I'm about to get analyzed, right? That's
You're
cool.
right.
I think that's going to to be awesome.
You just
I'm
might.
excited.
You just might.
We can totally do that. I'm an open book, so.
Okay, well, what's your sign?
My sign, I'm a Capricorn.
Ah, okay. So all business, very ambitious. Capricorns they're extremely determined and very focused. You're the sign of the goat. I'm just going to give you a little bit backstory.
Okay.
And the goat will do anything to climb up that mountain. It'll eat glass, paper, whatever to reach the top. So that's kind of like what I do when I meet people. I, find out their signs, and believe it or not, I remember their signs more than I remember their names.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So how did you initially know that you were passionate about astrology?
Well, I didn't have the best childhood. I had a horrible childhood, actually. And I kind of had to, get to know people's personalities as soon as I met them. I needed to right away, be able to, sum up what I was dealing with, and it helped me in sales a lot, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long were you in sales for?
I want to say pretty much my entire career. So I'm 41 now. And I started sales when I was like 18 years old. I've been on my own since 16. And, I'm just kind of a go-getter. Like I love sales. I love, seeing if people are, I like genuine sales. I don't like, the hard sell. I don't like the push. I want people to really care about the product.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of our followers and a lot of the people watching are in sales or have been in sales or working on building a business. So if astrology somehow helps with that and connects with that, then
I'm going to give them the holy grail.
In business. So, all right,
Awesome.
cool. So you felt like earlier it really gave you an edge in reading people and understanding. I mean, what are the biggest things you understand about a person from
Astrology.
knowing their sign or from astrology? Yeah.
So astrology is almost like a form of psychology, in a way, in a sense of, to put it best, J.P. Morgan went on record as saying millionaires don't practice astrology, but billionaires do. And I figure if J.P. Morgan, of course, the creator of Chase Bank and many other endeavors, if he was able to figure out how to apply astrology to business, I could as well.
Yeah.
And it does help tremendously in sales. I know that when I meet a Capricorn, they're going to be very determined, very, focused. They don't like BS. They're very cut and dry, very direct.
I feel red. I definitely feel red. Yes. Okay.
I can't even help it. It's like I wake up doing
No,
this.
it's cool. It's cool. How about in relationships? How do Capricorns tend to be?
Okay, all right. You want the good, the bad, and the
I
ugly?
can handle it all. Yes.
All right, my podcast is called Astro Bitch, so I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and ugly.
I can handle it. Let's do it.
So they can be a little bit austere. I mean, and a lot of times that the problems that they face and challenges that they face in relationships is that they are workaholics, and their work becomes their work wife. It replaces relationships at times.
Okay.
So if they can learn to soften that edge and find more of a work life, home life balance, it will really help in their relationship.
That's super accurate too.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I've been with my wife for 7 years.
Wow.
And that was definitely, we get along amazing, but that was probably the biggest thing that we had challenges with maybe
Right.
4 years ago was she's like, I love how driven you are. And I know you're doing it all to provide for us, but we gotta find some boundaries of how we can still get some good quality time in and everything like
Absolutely.
that. So,
And it's so imperative. And I mean, you're an evolved Capricorn because a lot of Capricorns don't learn that lesson until later in life. So you're an evolved Capricorn, and it's good that you were able to find the work-home life balance. What's your wife's sign? And when's her birthday?
April 11th.
Ah, interesting. I'm an Aries. So I'm April 16th. So she's very similar to me. And actually, me and my husband have had the same situations.
Is he a Capricorn?
No, he's not, but
Okay.
he's on the cusp of a Taurus, which is you're an Earth sign.
Okay.
And my husband is Taurus Gemini. He's a Gemini, which is an air sign, but Taurus is on the cusp. So he
Gotcha.
actually acts very similar to
Got it.
Earth sign people.
Makes sense.
And he's a workaholic also.
Now, that term evolved Capricorn, am I allowed to use that when people ask me my sign? Instead of being a Capricorn, can I say I'm a very well evolved Capricorn?
You know what? I would open with that.
Nice. I like that. Okay, cool. So, how does like an Aries tend to be in a relationship?
Okay, so Aries women are very strong-willed. They're very fiery, very passionate. The sign is fire that controls in Aries. And they're very fiery, very determined, very passionate, and they are very much the go-getter. Like a lot of them, we can't seem to separate work also from, relationships when we get very determined. We get in our spurts, though.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty darn accurate for sure. Yeah. Okay. And so, you do this, but so far astrology hasn't directly been a business for you. It's just been more of a passion, but it's something you are planning on starting a podcast about, right?
Absolutely.
So what's the goal of the podcast?
Sure. So, my main business is I'm an event planner. I do events and I do photo booths. I own a photo booth business. And I also am, on a good day, help my husband with his electrical contracting business, hiring and firing employees, unfortunately, and telling him the astrology of his
unevolved Capricorns. Yes, got it.
among other things, But yes, I am in charge of helping him whenever he's hiring someone to tell them their sign and how they're going to be on the jobs.
Do people ever react weird to that at all?
I've had people lie about their signs.
Really?
It's like they're embarrassed of their signs because they don't want me to read them or something. And I'm like,
Gotcha.
listen, that's totally fine. Just say, you know what? I'm not comfortable and I'm totally fine with that. I'll back off.
I've never thought that. I guess I've just so you just taught me more about astrology than I've known in my whole life up to this point. So I
Awesome.
guess before then, there's a lot of people who, if they don't know about it, they probably just assume it's like
Voodoo.
BS. Yeah, witchcraft, right? So how do you, I guess when you meet somebody who's really skeptical about it, how do you get them to
Convert
see
them.
the validity?
Right. How do I convert them? Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to give you a little bit of earth signs tend to be earth signs, meaning Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgos. Those are the three earth signs of all of the zodiac chart.
Okay.
They tend to be against astrology because they don't believe in any of it. So a lot of times I love meeting skeptics. I love that because I tell them, listen, if our bodies are mostly made up of water, and the moon controls the tides. And you know how the full moon people react crazily. It's a scientific study that, people are in hospitals and, there's like a lot more accidents during the full moon. Why wouldn't the planets have some kind of gravitational pull on how we are in our daily lives? If you think about it from a scientific or logical point,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. Well, doing your primary business of event planning.
Yes.
How do you find that astrology helps you in your business?
It helps me tremendously. Basically, when I'm interviewing a new client, I love to ask their signs because I already know what the kind of, if I'm booking an event in February and I'm doing the wedding of the daughter of the bride, actually basically the bride. I like to find out what the bride and groom sign is ahead of time. So I know what kind of personality and relationship we're going to have throughout the process of planning. Sometimes I meet a Pisces, for instance. Let me give you an example. Pisces women are water signs and they're very, ethereal and creative, but they're not the best planners.
Yeah.
So it's best for me to send them a questionnaire.
Got it.
Just to keep everybody on track.
That makes sense. I mean, there's a lot of people who, in business, before they hire somebody, they'll do like a personality profile
Yes.
test. And this is, your way of doing a personality profile test.
Absolutely.
Right?
And I want to see what kind of relationship we're going to have. I mean, are we going to get along, or are we going to fight while you guys are getting married?
Yeah, makes sense. Am I going to be a friend for life, or are you going to lose my number?
Me?
Yeah, got it.
Exactly.
Okay. And I had no clue that you've been in sales for so long. Where did you start in sales?
Okay, guys. So I did Century 21 department store in New York, right across the street from the former World Trade Center. And we got tourists from all over the world.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say I'm the most patient. I am an Aries. And if you know anything, knowing your wife, we're not the most patient.
True.
And
she said it, honey, not me.
It was me. Don't beat up on her. But yes, we're not the most patient, and it was unfortunate because I dealt with a lot of maybe not so friendly people. So again, that's where astrology also helped me, because I'm like, okay, you know what? Listen, I've had to self-analyze and say, you know what? I have to go about this in a different way. I have to learn patience.
Yeah.
Okay. It's self-awareness.
Yeah. And what are, I guess, when you are looking to utilize your knowledge of astrology in sales, what's something that sales reps can be doing to utilize that knowledge, right? So let's say, for example, if in my company, we learn people's birthday pretty soon in our process. We actually have it prior to the meeting most of the time.
Nice.
So let's say if I know somebody's sign going into it, what are some examples of how I could conduct myself differently with certain signs?
Absolutely. So you're a Capricorn. So say, for instance, a woman walks in and she's a Pisces, and you know that maybe she connects well with the public. She's phenomenal with the public, but however, she may not be the most organized. If you know this knowledge going in, you could really utilize this for any type of hiring and firing for your process. If you know that maybe she's not the most organized, but man, can she sell, and she can, make people trust her and believe her and love her right away, then, it's going to help further your business, but, not to put her into, say admin.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. What do you see are the best people to put in admin?
And I'm going to be honest with you. So Capricorns, okay. Virgos, Taurus, they're made for like admin. They believe it or not, a lot of them love desk jobs. They like, I'm not astrology. I'm saying they like accounting. Okay. Accounting, numbers, the number crunchers. That's typically the Virgos, Tauruses. Capricorns are pretty much full of different ranges, though. Yeah. I mean, some of the best actors are Capricorn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And Jared Leto,
There we go. Yeah. Okay. How about from another angle? So, knowing that I'm a Capricorn, you mentioned one thing that a lot of Capricorns need to work on is that, giving a little bit of balance to the other areas of your life, hobbies and your relationship and things outside of work. What are some other kind of weaknesses, I guess you could say, of Capricorns? Yeah.
Sometimes they can be a bit too austere and they're direct, but it's maybe sometimes, putting a little bit of that warmth before they deliver the message.
Yep.
It comes off too harsh. And I mean, believe it or not, Aries know this all too well as well. We're the sign of the ram and you're the goat. So we can be very, cut and dry, and it can hurt people's feelings.
Gotcha. Okay. So just learning how to soften your message up a little bit.
And the tone a little bit. The tone also, it's the way the message is delivered. Because if you deliver the message like, hey, you know what, this really bothered me, and maybe start off maybe the sandwich method,
Yeah.
Maybe a nice compliment, a criticism, and then a compliment to finish it off.
Gotcha. All right. And let's say, for example, so April birthday is what again?
So April birthday is Aries.
Aries. Okay.
And also Taurus if you get the end of the month.
Gotcha. And you're an Aries. So let's say, and somebody else, a very important woman in my life who's nameless, is also an Aries. So what are some of the biggest weaknesses that you would say of Aries women?
Okay. So I'm going to apologize to your wife ahead of time. So Aries women, we like to make fun of people. And like, we don't mean to be hurtful. We're thinking we're just laughing and everybody's laughing with us.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're not laughing with us.
Yeah.
They don't think that we're so funny when we're cutting, we're cutting people down and we don't realize that we're doing that. We're thinking we're being funny. And meanwhile, we just burned down everybody in the room.
Yeah.
We didn't mean it. We thought we were being funny. So sometimes we could be too witty to the point where it's not funny and it's hurtful.
Gotcha.
So we could do that. And also our bad tempers.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So those are the things that Aries women could work on.
Definitely.
Right?
Aries women could work on, and they could benefit from learning patience.
Gotcha.
So
all you Aries women out there, just remember, from the expert, just work on patience and your temper and being a little bit nicer to everybody in the room.
I'm for us, Aries women. I just want to say that. I'm for us.
That's awesome. Well, cool. I mean, I've learned more in astrology right here than I've ever known before. So that's really, really helpful.
Awesome.
So tell me a little bit more about your business. So you have the event planning company. How long have you been doing that?
Sure. So I started my photo booth business called OS Photo Booths in 2016. And I did that with my husband. We have the business together. And I just kind of have taken more on the role of doing the photo booths and setting everything up, selling the photo booths, the photo booth events and things like that.
Okay.
Then 2019, I decided right before, of course, the pandemic, to go ahead and start implementing DJs and photographers and videographers. And then it just kind of grew into a full service event concierge.
Nice.
So I'm doing wedding and event concierge.
Very cool. And you also have kind of a networking event, a recurring networking event that you run with a close partner of yours, right?
Yes.
Nice.
So my partner is named Mandy, and Mandy and I started the Boss Babes Society events. And I actually started that in 2018, and then Mandy just became my partner this year.
Nice.
And I've been doing these events monthly, and we just to bring the women and community together. And to me, a boss babe is someone that's taking care of their business. It doesn't have to just be an entrepreneurial-minded, women that come out. I mean, if you're a mom and you're taking care of everything, that's a boss to me. You can sit with us.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so what's the goal of your networking events? I mean, obviously get strong women together, but is it building stronger sense of community or what's the goal?
Building relationships,
Yeah.
building community, sponsorships, because, I want to help out these doctors' offices, these lawyers, these attorneys that maybe, need marketing, but can't pay hundreds and thousands of dollars. You can, ribbon cuttings. Like we want to do several different things to help the community,
Nice.
And also I would love to eventually get to the point where I'm giving back to help foster children out, like to speak to foster children and show them that there's another way. I was a foster kid, so that means a lot to me.
That's awesome. And you have 2 daughters of your own, right?
Yes, I do. Oh my
That's
goodness.
awesome.
Poor me.
What are their signs?
So I have an Aquarius who's the 12-year-old, and she is like my best friend because I know you don't know too much about astrology, but we also have a moon. Everybody has a moon sign, and that's how you are emotionally. Mine is an Aquarius. So me and my daughter, the 12-year-old, we really connect. And she's like my best friend. I mean, she reads my thoughts, and it's kind of creepy. But my oldest daughter is 20, and her name is Diana, and she's a Cancer. And Cancer women is the opposite of Capricorn.
Yeah.
So that's the opposite sign. And we had a very tumultuous upbringing with her. I struggled a lot, but we didn't speak for 3 years. And now she's come back and she's my absolute best friend.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome. And so the moon sign, how does that work?
So your moon sign is your emotions. So your sun sign is just your overall personality. Really doesn't reflect on how you really are. It's just how you are in your career and the way you go about things. But your moon sign is your emotions, how you are instinctively, like how you wake up in the morning and, the first thing that you do is mine is an Aquarius. Aquarius is an air sign. I could be a little bit airheaded at times in the morning.
And how is that determined by your birthday also?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And the location of your birth.
Got you. So what would mine be?
I would have to pull it up. I would have to pull it up for you.
Okay,
Yeah, that's deep.
We'll save that for another day. Okay.
Definitely.
I mean, I'm probably going to go look it up later tonight, but
I will send it to you.
Okay, deal. Yeah. Awesome. And your daughter, one of your daughters is starting a clothing line, right?
Yes, that's Diana. That's the Cancer. So
okay, she's the 20-year-old?
She's the 20-year-old, okay, and she's extremely ambitious, which I'm really proud about. You know, she's a go-getter, and she's a lot better at numbers than I am. That's another thing Aries are not the best at.
Yeah. And then your other daughter is an actor and a dancer?
Yes. Wow. She loves singing, acting, dancing. I mean, and then I have a bonus son, which is my husband's son. He's an actor and also a musician.
Nice. Very cool.
Working actor for the until, you know, the strikes are over.
Yeah. Cool. Well, where do you think your daughters get it? I mean, you know, you have one daughter starting a clothing line, the other's acting and dancing. Where do you think I guess your daughter that started the clothing line, where do you think she got that business ownership mindset from?
I mean, I would love to take the credit.
Yeah.
I really would. But you know what? She's always I've always known that she was going to be fine because she was always really ambitious. She's me 2.0.
Yeah.
You know, she's better than me. And I'm so excited to see what happens to her in the future because she's a big dreamer and she makes things happen.
That's awesome. Very cool. And, you know, you seem to have some very, very strong women in your life and be a strong woman yourself. Are there any particular signs that, I mean, that's a tough question because if you answer anything, it's going to sound like there's signs of women that are not strong. But
right.
Is there any particular signs of women that really tend to be successful in business and start their own companies?
Yes. And see, you know, it's crazy because I've pondered this question a lot, and I think honestly, fire and air sign women are the creators. They're very creative minded, but so are water sign women. Water sign women are very creative. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. So every sign has the potential and the ability to be successful. Yep. It's just, you know, like what's their strengths and what's their weaknesses, and the awareness of if they realize it, you know, that they have weaknesses and work on that.
Got you. So kind of like how you were saying, I'm evolved. That's because I became aware that I have that tendency to be a workaholic and kind of did something about it. Okay, got it.
You're so logical. So and you're able to understand what I'm saying. And believe it or not, I don't always have this, you know, kind of rapport with when I try to explain this to astrology to certain men.
You think they're just like not willing to listen, or?
Well, sometimes when you meet the skeptic and they want to be, you know, they want to run with it.
Yeah. Makes sense. Well, I mean, I'm the type of person that, you know, if you had lost me in the first 2 minutes, I would have told you. Yeah. But you hit the nail on the head pretty quickly when you describe me, and it's kind of hard to deny that. So
thank you.
Yeah. So it's hard to hear things about yourself and deny them if you know that they're true. If you had to guess at my moon sign, what would you say? And you can ask me a few questions, like survey questions too.
Being here, I don't even need to ask you questions. I feel like you're like a fire moon or an air sign moon, especially if you're married to an Aries woman.
Okay.
You probably a Leo moon or like a Sagittarius moon. But I'm gonna pull up your chart and we'll see. We'll revisit this.
Okay. Deal. All right. Cool. And you know, starting the podcast, Astro Bitch, right? That's what it's gonna be. Okay.
I get embarrassed when people say it. I don't know why. I start laughing.
I feel like I'm making fun of you saying it, but that's what it is.
It was catchy.
Yeah,
you know?
It is catchy for sure. I like it.
Thank you.
So starting that, what's the objective there? Is it going to be helping the individual guests that you read? Mm-hmm. What's the goal of that?
So the reason why I started Astro Bitch is because it was just a hobby for me, and I love helping my friends connect and meet their perfect partners, and you know what to avoid in business, and I just was like, my husband kept saying, you know what, babe, you really need to do this as a business. He's like, you're going to be super successful.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it because I really do care. The objective is like, I really care, and I want to see people use this knowledge to further themselves in life.
Yeah.
You know, that was my objective, and the good and the bad and the ugly.
Well, I think when you're really, really passionate about something, I think there's something about that genuineness that is undeniable. Because I've had conversations, actually, this is the first conversation that I've ever not really been a skeptic about it. Because usually when somebody who has probably not as thorough of an understanding as you, when they come and try and explain that my birthday means I'm this and this and this, but they don't really have a whole lot to back up their argument. It's pretty easy to be like, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. So. And I've met a lot of astrologers. I hate to say, I've met a lot of astrologers like that. They only know the bare minimum or the surface level stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it shows that you're passionate about it, that you believe everything you know, and that you genuinely want to help. You're not giving me anything unless I ask for it. You're not here sitting here going, oh, you're a Capricorn. So you know what I mean?
Has that happened to you?
No,
oh my gosh,
no.
I hope not.
I've never had anybody speak badly of anybody for any particular sign. I've never heard that. I guess what I've had people try to explain it to me and try and make it make sense to me, but they didn't really have the facts to sell me on it.
Absolutely.
And I'm a tough sell if you don't really have the facts. You know?
Capricorns are a tough sell. And I like that, though. I love a challenge. One thing about Aries women, they love a challenge, you know? And I mean, if there's I'm not saying to believe in whatever I'm selling or what I'm putting out, but if there is a possibility of maybe there's another way of me explaining things, I like to do that because I mean, you know, maybe I'll turn a skeptic into a believer.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, everybody who's watching this who knows me, you've probably just converted them because if they know me really well, you nailed me pretty well there. So, yeah.
Thank you.
My wife now believes thoroughly in astrology, I'm sure, after seeing this.
I love that.
So,
that's wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. So, as business owners, what do you think is the best thing a business owner can do to kind of get a quick education on it so they can be using this information with their hiring and firing or with their partnerships?
Do you mean like with astrology? How could they use this?
How could they learn about it?
Oh, okay. So not just my podcast, but believe it or not, on YouTube, there's a lot of excellent. There's one guy that I actually sent to my husband. You know, resistance is futile. He's had no choice but to listen to the videos, and now he's a believer. His name is Manal. But there's a lot of YouTube channels that will really help you, and there's a lot of apps that will tell you what your birth chart is and how you could go about effectively avoiding certain situations to make your life a little bit easier. You know?
Gotcha. So now that this is just something I thought of. So my wife's pregnant with our first child right now.
Oh, congratulations.
And so obviously I think about that a lot, but I was just thinking, do you know people that intentionally get pregnant at certain times?
Me.
Yeah? So you planned it? You were like,
well, the last one.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
The last one. The first two, I didn't do that, unfortunately.
Gotcha.
But my daughter, my youngest daughter, I kind of did. And she was born exactly her due date, which was kind of rare. And it was like exactly the sign that I wanted.
Wow. So
yes.
what sign is she again?
She's Aquarius.
So you wanted an Aquarius.
I wanted an Aquarius bad. I mean, they're like the soothsayers and the fortune tellers of the zodiac. So, I was like, I need to hear her.
So 9 months before, you're like, all right, we gotta make this happen.
I'm like, get to work.
It's time. It's time to make an Aquarius.
Let's do it. Let's make magic.
Oh man. So my wife's due date is February 20th.
Oh, wow.
So if it was February 20th, what's the child going to be?
So she's right on the cusp of Aquarius and Pisces. And that's actually Rihanna's birthday.
What? Okay.
I told you, I remember dates.
Yeah.
But that's Rihanna's birthday. And the crazy thing about that is you'll get a little bit of the Aquarius and you'll get the Pisces if she comes on her exact due date. She may come early and she'll be a full-on Aquarius. And if she doesn't, she'll come out a Pisces. And a Pisces gets along so well with Capricorns. Nice. She's gonna be a daddy's girl.
I've learned more on this one pod. We've had people here making multiple millions per year. We've had people in real estate and fitness with six packs, and I've learned more with you
Oh,
than
thank
I don't want to
you.
no shade to our previous guests, but this is
Thank
blowing
you.
my mind how
Oh
much
my
I'm
gosh,
learning
thank
right
you
now.
so much. That means so much to me.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Well, cool. So in your businesses, you're obviously using astrology a lot to determine, I mean, not just in business, but everybody that
Everything.
you. So there's a good question. Is what made you, from an astrological standpoint, what do you feel like makes you and your husband compatible?
Okay, so that's a funny question because me and my husband we're actually very compatible. He's an air sign, he's a Gemini, and then I'm a fire sign. And fire, what happens with fire? Fans the flames,
Yeah,
right?
it needs oxygen for
Absolutely.
fire to exist.
And
Yeah.
we really work well together. We're like best of friends. Like he's my best friend. And what works well with us is that our love sign. So everybody has Venuses in their chart, and your Venus, my Venus is in Pisces, which is a hopeless romantic, and his Venus is in Cancer, which is like the protector and like the mommy and daddy of the zodiac. Although he'll never admit it.
Nice.
And that you have to find out when I pull up your chart, you'll see your Venus and you'll see what your wife's Venus is, and then you can see how you're going to have issues with maybe communication sometimes, but you may also figure out a way to go about that. Astrology helps keep our marriage together.
Yeah.
It really does.
Wow. Man, me and my wife are going to have to book a session with you here.
I would love that.
Do you meet with people one-on-one like that?
I do. I meet with
Nice.
people one-on-one. I pull up their whole chart. I explain to them the challenges and what they need to avoid. And they're like, oh my God, I'm going through that right now with him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is what you need to do to avoid this. And then they'll do that. And it really helps their marriage.
What do you think are the most common areas of someone's life that astrology really seems to help? Like I had never even thought of like astrology in business. That like before this conversation, that was like saying, Skittles and jump rope. Like it was two completely different things.
Love that.
But so relationships, business, what else are some main areas that astrology helps people out?
So it also helps people with understanding themselves. Like I said, it's a form of psychology. So if there are things, the dark side of the moon, there's certain parts of ourselves that we may not have gone deep and but we do want to understand that. We know it's there lying dormant, but we won't visit that because we don't know how to, fix it.
Yeah.
But if astrology will tell you, hey, listen, girl, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
You need to do this. Look yourself in the mirror and do this and write yourself a letter and say goodbye to this.
I mean, it's like having a pain that you don't know what to do about.
Exactly.
And then go to the doctor and he says, oh, it's this muscle that's torn. You need to stretch like this.
Exactly.
Okay, got
Exactly. It helps you.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm enlightened. So
And evolved.
yes, and evolved. Well, Bianca, if people want to get in touch with you to, learn more about astrology, or if they want to get in touch with you to, work together on your networking events or any of your projects, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Absolutely. I would love that. Anybody that wants to book a session with me or to network, come to my Boss Babe events. We do them monthly, and we also do Boss Society events for men and women. So, because I wanted to do something for relationships and couples. So, and also just, singles. So we do those bi-monthly.
Nice.
You would find me at info@OS Photo Booths, with plural, photo booths @gmail.com. I mean, info@OS Photo Booths, not Gmail. Sorry, guys.
info@osphotobooths.com. Got
Yes.
it. Okay. Or connect with you on Instagram.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me at Bianca Aries, obviously.
Okay.
Or Astro Bitch.
Nice. Astro Bitch is the podcast.
It's the podcast, and it's also my Instagram name.
All right. Awesome. Well, Bianca, thank you so much for everything that you taught me about me and about my wife and about who I am in general. So thank you so much for being on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you guys for having us.
No problem.
Thank you.